Bill, let's talk about the obvious here at first, right? Which is the macro picture that the Fed has been setting up here over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Now, we rallied going into the end of last week on this asinine assumption that the Fed is going to be cutting rates, despite the fact that the market is near all-time highs. And one could argue that given the tariff situation and the trade war situation, the market has been actually holding up decently. Wanted to get your take on this idea of cutting rates right now, Bill.
Well, you're right. The market has held up rather well, but I think you cannot underestimate the mindset, the sort of the radical mindset of both the Fed and the other big central banks, the BOJ, the ECB, the Swiss National Bank. I mean, they're all kind of crazy, and I think it's a mistake to think that these guys and women are going to behave in a way that is even remotely considered rational. They have sponsored the stock market and the bond market because they claim that the quote-unquote portfolio balance channel will help the economy. In other words, they want the stock market and or the bond market to drag the economy along. You know, post 08, it's the stock market has ceased to become a reflection of the economy. It is meant to be an engine for the economy. So they've sponsored this upcycle. They're never going to perceive it to be a bubble. I don't care what happens. If there were, 100 Beyond Meats that IPO'd in a week and did the same thing, they would consider that good. So it would not surprise me at all if they were to cut rates sometime soon. I don't think they have the cover to do it yet, say at the June meeting, but they don't care about things that you and I might think they ought to care about. In their mind, there's no such thing as an excess. They've convinced themselves that 2% inflation is the perfect thing, or said differently, they've convinced themselves that not enough inflation is really a danger. Now, if you step back and went to anyone and said, hey, listen, the Fed thinks that no one's cost of living is going up fast enough, so they're going to make it go up faster. Would anyone say that's a good idea? I don't think so. They can't even articulate what they want. What they want is faster growth. What they talk about is not enough inflation. It's so idiotic that I can't believe that thought process has lasted more than 5 minutes, but it's been going on for almost a decade now. So that was a long answer to your question. There's nothing that I don't that you say that someone can say they wouldn't do. So could they decide, hey, instead of waiting for things to weaken, we're just going to cut to make sure they don't weaken? They could think that. Will they do it? I don't know, but I don't trust them at all when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, one of the investment banks had a note out toward the end of the week last week that they were expecting a cut at the next meeting, which is July. Is it July or June?
June.
Yeah, so maybe they said July then. But, they're talking about before we even exit the summer.